Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. This is Coach Powell. Sorry for my voice. Just spoke for the first time today. It's 3 o'clock. It's a 3 o'clock hour on a Friday afternoon. I hope you guys are having a great time. It is the end of Memorial Day weekend, and we've got a special show for you. Memorial Day weekend happened last week, as a matter of fact, last weekend, and we're headed into the second weekend of June, as a matter of fact, and we're going to have a great time as we have our show today for you. We've got some ideas prepared to chat with you all about. We want to make sure that you recognize that in all things that we do for our listening audience. We do for our listening audience that's full of entrepreneur business leaders who are out there, trying to find balance, trying to find a way to restructure, a way to find opportunities for them to grow their business, to grow their lives, to be more successful, to find joy and happiness in the things that they get to do. And I get to talk about those wonderful things right here on the show every week. I've been doing this show now for more than 20 years. And since COVID started, we put it online so everybody can come and see it. Everybody can get it in all over the country, all over the nation, all over the world. We can participate and enjoy this opportunity to be together and to spend time with one another. I want to say to all of our listening audience and our members, whether you're watching this on recording or you're watching this live, feel free to engage in the chat. Put any information you want out there about your business, about your life, how you found us, what's going on with you, any questions you may have about anything, really, put it in the chat. Sometimes I have answers, sometimes I don't have answers. If I do have answers, I'll definitely try to either answer them live on today's show, or I will answer those questions either in private chat, depending on, what you'd like to have. You can always give me a call or connect with me online. My information is scrolling across the screen right now, as you can see. And so we try to make sure that we keep these things as interactive as possible. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a great time for about 30, 40 minutes, and then we're going to call it a day. Okay, so today's show, super special. We're going to talk about recap some ideas about Memorial Day, but then we're going to finalize what we've been talking about for several weeks now. We're going to talk about we're going to put a cap on our final ideas about planning and what planning needs to be able to do for you, and how you can align all of the systems and the various opportunities and elements that you have in your plan together to create a super powerful and engaging process that you can enjoy and people around you can enjoy, and you can do exceptionally well. You can achieve great results from working in this way. We're going to talk a lot about that at the top of the hour. So when we come back, we're going to be getting started. Before we go to the break, I wanted to make sure you guys know, please feel free to share this with as many people as you possibly can. Share it with your friends, share it with your associates. Make sure that you give us a thumbs up where it's time to give us a thumbs up. Make sure that you do all the bells and whistles in terms of guiding and joining the different areas that we broadcast on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. If you have a chance to pick us up on YouTube, you can definitely join the channel, right? Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, subscribe to us on Facebook and on LinkedIn as well. And we'll make sure that you never lose any of the shows. This is just one of the various types of shows that I do on a regular, consistent basis. And by the way, I'm looking for some new people to join me on the next Inside the Business Mind with Coach Powell. We try to make sure every once in a while we bring a ringer in to talk about some kind of entrepreneur, business leader, to talk about what's going on in their world, what's going on in their business, and to share with us, some insights they may have in to the universe. And so it's always a great opportunity. If you know somebody who needs to be on the show, definitely have them get in contact with me. Definitely have them reach out to me. I'm looking for new guests as we speak. And I'd also like to welcome you all, if you have a chance, to definitely take a look at the chat. And in the chat, I've had a couple of comments already, and we're talking about you're getting your leverage up tickets, making sure that you have your tickets to the next conference that are coming up. We have a leverage up conference. We do it every quarter. It's one of the most special things that I get to do. In the leverage up conference, we focus on making sure we answer the questions that are perplexing business leaders and small businesses today. We focus on the most relevant topics that are out there. We have speakers and guest speakers, and guest presenters and panelists from all over the world coming together, some of the best people you ever can imagine coming together to help share and open up wisdom and insight. So it's a great conference to attend. It's a great opportunity to meet high quality people, to learn more about maybe what things you might be able to do to prepare yourself and your business for phenomenal success. And it's really, really, really a special moment. I do it once a quarter. It's been more and more popular as we continue to go. So definitely get your ticket. If you haven't gotten your ticket, get your ticket now. Make sure you lock in, because once we get the first couple of tickets out, a couple of hundred tickets out, then we're going to start to open that up, and we're probably going to have to charge a lot more money, because we want to keep a small, intimate environment. So I want to make sure that you get yours. So don't get left behind. Don't get left out. Don't be sitting on the sidelines too long on this one. You want to get your tickets right away. And that's going to be already posted in the chat. So we'll repost it again in case anybody needs any help getting to it. And we're going to go ahead and do our little special branding moment, and then we're going to get this party started. Okay. This is Coach Powell with Coffee, Tea, You and Me, coming to you live. I'm so glad to be with you guys. I realize that a lot of my stuff that is normally here is not there. That's my logo for my show. That's wonderful. Okay. This is Coffee, Tea, You and Me. Again, like you've heard before, I've been doing this show for a long time. I've met entrepreneurs from all over the world. I've helped them and introduced them to ideas and concepts that they normally wouldn't get a chance to even think about. So, I ask you to sit down and grab a cup of coffee and, start to relax and, just listen, prepare to engage. If you're watching this on a cell phone and you're in a car or something like that, definitely do not engage with the chat function or whatever. I want you to be, hands-free. I want you to make sure you keep your hands on the steering wheel and stay focused on driving. But this is a great show for you to listen to, for you to record, go back and listen to it and catch the rebroadcast anytime you want to. We want to be here for you. We want to be here for you anytime you need us here for you. We happen to broadcast live around the 3 o'clock hour on Friday, every Friday. But we re-air the shows, and you can always go back and watch any of the shows that you may have missed. So don't feel like, you're going to miss something. And if you need something repeated, don't worry. You can always go hit the record button, or you can always go back and hit the rewind button and listen to something that maybe came a little faster than you can write it down. So I want you to just relax. I want you to sit back. I want you to, try to engage if you can. Listen as much as you can. We're going to have some super special opportunities for later on. And also, I just want to mention one last time, if you haven't got your leverage up tickets, check the chat, get your leverage up tickets. These things are going to go quickly, and in fact, they're already going quickly. I don't want you to be missed out on this great opportunity. Okay, leverage up information is on the screen right now. So if you need to go there, that's how you find it. It's on Eventbrite. You can actually Google Eventbrite, leverage up virtual business conference for July in 2023, and you'll find out all the information you need to find out about how to get your tickets. If you have any questions, if you want to sponsor this event, give your boy a call. The information is right down at the bottom of the screen. Okay. Really casual today because I just want to make a quick little broadcast and get on with my day. Got a lot going on today. My girls are coming back from Paris, which is a great opportunity for them. They had a great time so far, and I'm hearing a lot of good information. I'm looking forward to seeing them pick them up at the airport real soon. And so many good things are happening, I don't want to bore you guys with that kind of stuff. So we're going to get right into our talk today. Today, I want to share with you some thoughts that I began to put together last weekend. And before we close out our discussion on our VisionQuest planning module, right? I want to share with you some thoughts about Memorial Day. Why Memorial Day? Obviously, this last weekend in May, first weekend in June, we began to think about and reflect on all of the things that our veterans have had to do and had to endure to help create the lifestyle in America specifically that we have. Without their sacrifice, without their willingness to put it all on the line, maybe we wouldn't be in the position that we are today. Maybe we wouldn't have the gifts and the opportunities. Now, some people may say, well, we haven't really done so much. We haven't really got so far. And I have to say, I would agree. There are some things that obviously we need to fix, and obviously we need to move forward when it comes to social justice and DEI and all of the opportunities we may have to create some balance and some equality in our system in this country. However, I still think it's the greatest country in the world. I still think it's the greatest place in the world for individual liberty and self-expression and an opportunity for growth and involvement in. We have tons of problems and tons of issues, there's no doubt, but we have the opportunity like no other place to come together and resolve those issues and solve that problem. And I think that when you think about Memorial Day, when I think about Memorial Day and I think about our veterans, there's three things that come to my mind. The first thing is sacrifice, right? And it's being willing to, share your beliefs and do what you need to do to honor your beliefs, making whatever sacrifice has to be made so that those beliefs have an opportunity to engage and create an opportunity in our world. The next thing I think about when it comes to Memorial Day is courage. This is simply the ability to do what needs to be done, even in the midst of fear, panic, some kind of intimidation or uncertainty, pain, anger. You're able to continue, and I mean emotional pain in this regard. You're able to continue. You're able to struggle through it. You're able to continue to push forward, being courageous, right? Being brave, doing the thing that has to be done, even in the face of tremendous fear and anxiety and stress. It takes courage and a willingness to sacrifice to make the things that we have happen in our universe happen, to grow our nation, to understand how all of this comes together. And the last thing I think of when it comes to Memorial Day is honor. Honor is about having character. It's about having decency and integrity and faithfulness in all that you do and represent. You have to be able to regard life with a great respect in order to fulfill whatever destiny, whatever goals, whatever ideals that we're achieving to or endeavoring to accomplish or achieve. And so when we think about Memorial Day, it's a great time to sit back and reflect. How do you display courage? How and what sacrifices have you made or are you willing to make? And finally, what does honor mean to you? And how do you use it in your life and in your business? And it's a fitting moment to talk about these things, because when these ideas are in alignment with one another, when they're aligned to a greater purpose and a greater good and a need that others get the benefit of, then you too can say, you are a veteran of a great society. You are a citizen of a wonderful nation that believes in honoring the courage, the sacrifice, the gallantry, the pageantry of our fallen ones. And there are great things to look forward to, and there are great things to reflect on. And this is the time we get to reflect on them. Now, it just so happens that Memorial Day came at a perfect time in our series, because we're ending our series. And we're ending our series. We just talked about over the last, since last November, we talked about the 5 elements of the VisionQuest90 system. And these elements are partnerships, vision, goals, mission, and habits. And each of these elements ties us inevitably to some key ideas like destiny, achievement, execution, purpose, and connection. Without these elements and without them being aligned, you have a system that can't work. And so no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're planning, no matter what role that you exist in, right? When you set forth a plan, when you start write down an idea or a concept that you want to share, you have to think about the vision. You have to think about the goals. You have to think about the habits that you're going to need to embrace. You have to think about the mission and how that all fits together, and what kind of partnerships and connections do you need to make, and how should they all work together in order for your plans to work most efficiently, most effectively, so that you can create and generate the power you need to create and generate. You see, in order to do this well, in order to recognize Memorial Day, in order to plan your success, in order to do things you need to do, you need to understand what alignment is and how alignment works. Because all of your systems and all of your elements that you're going to be focused on have to be in alignment and stay in alignment in order for you to maximize your efficiency, create more power, generate more opportunities, find more meaning in what you do. All of it has to work together in order for you to be successful and to sustain the success, right? If your goal is to just get something done really quickly, well, you can do that. But if your goal is to reach a sustainable level of success and to remain successful, right, you're going to have to put a lot more into it. And in trying to making sure all of your systems are aligned properly is super, super, super important. Let's think about it. When you think about alignment, what do you think about? Naturally, you think about an arrangement of, different elements, right, who all separately, on their own merit, excuse me, on their own merit, these elements are working wonderfully. So in the case of the VisionQuest90 system, right, here are the separate elements: your vision, your goals, your habits, your mission, and finally, your partnerships. All of these things must be in effect. There's no doing anything without them, but they all exist on their own. Your vision helps you plug into your destiny. That's the goal of vision, is to make sure you understand where you're going. Your goals help you create a modicum of achievement, or I would say a pace for your achievement. As you achieve each goal, you achieve more and more and more, or you continue on the track of achievement, right? By establishing and reaching your goals. The goals are all about, that achievement mindset, that achievement mantra, and being able to get it done, right? Your habits are all about execution, really. They help you on a day-to-day micro level do the things that you need to do, right? To engage in the things you need to engage in almost without thought, so that you can keep moving forward, so that you can keep executing on your plan. If your habits are not aligned correctly, then you're going to be doing the things that take you off track. You're going to be doing things that keep you unaligned, right? So you don't want to have bad habits. Good habits are what you want to have. You want to embrace those good habits, and you want to be able to practice those, and you want to be able to prepare yourself for those habits, and you want to be able to share in your plans. These are the habits that you will be adopting, or that you've mastered along the way, so that people understand where your gifts might be taking you, right? And then there's finally mission. Mission gives you a sense of purpose, and it ties a lot of the things together, but it also stands alone. Your purpose, your reason to exist, your mission is different from your vision, your goals, and your habits, right? But it is, in fact, part of a whole system that you have to put together. But if you don't have a good mission in the first place, you don't have a purpose, you don't have a reason why. When people ask you, what are you up to? You can say what you're up to, that's great. But why? You can't. You see, because you don't understand the mission. You don't understand the reason. You don't know how to value the actions that you're taking. And mission gives you all of that. And then finally, there's, your partnerships, the connections that you have. These are your ride or die, man. These are the people that are your inner circle. These are the people that, you want to take with you as you engage in anything that you engage in. Because without them, you're alone. Without them, you don't have your best opportunities to get different perspectives, to establish tremendous trust, to sit back, relax, and know that you're in the proper environment with the right people. And if things go wrong, you're gonna have people there to help you deal with it, to help you, not just to console you, but to help you figure out a different way, a new plan, to come at it again, to strengthen you, to encourage you, to bring you up. You have people, partners for that, right? That's what people are for. And so that's why all these systems are like I said, they're all individual, but they all work together. And if you align them correctly, because it does matter how you align them. Right, you just can't. It didn't work out into a nice little perfect circle. I know I illustrate it all the time, and how people see that these are all pieces of the pie, but they have to come together well. If they don't come together well, then you're going to have a dysfunctional system, and that system is not going to work well. That's why alignment is critical. This is what we're talking about. That last piece of all that planning we've done, all the ideas about planning, is all about alignment. And the thing about alignment is, you have to have things that come together. They have to be in the right relative position to one another. And then in those positions, they have to agree. The whole has to agree. And if there's no agreement, there's no proper alignment and proper positioning of all the various different elements, then you're going to have chaos. You're going to have something that doesn't work. It might work for a minute, but then it's going to fall all apart. And you have to spend more time putting it all back together and reconfiguring it and redesigning it and thinking about it some more and calling a team together. It's going to be really, really, really problematic. That's why when organizations come together and they come together for their annual meetings, or they come together for your big discovery process and strategy sessions and all those kinds of things, it is super, super important that you always seek a reconnection with the mission, an understanding of what you have to do to make it work, really, really work, understanding of where you're going in terms of your vision and your goals and what you're trying to achieve, right? And then understanding who is responsible for what and how those responsibilities can be used much better. We've talked about all these different things, but now we're talking about how you put them together, right? How do they come together to make things work? And one of the best quotes that I think that I've ever read that reminds me of what a true alignment is this one. This one's from Kristen Kaufman, and she wrote a book called "Is This Seat Taken? Random Encounters That Change Your Life." And here's the quote: "Alignment begins with a constituency of one. These are the individuals whose substance is real, pure, and non-negotiable. They share their vulnerabilities and fears and complements to their strengths. They are comfortable weaving all parts of their lives together in an integrated way. Our level of effectiveness, contribution, and integrity of work and life are in direct correlation with our level of integration, self-actualization, and total alignment of the body, mind, and spirit." I don't know a more comprehensive set of words to explain what I'm trying to explain to you when it comes to alignment than those words right there. They involve more than just the physical aspects of what you're doing. They involve the emotional aspects, the spiritual aspects, the physical aspects. All of it comes together in alignment in order for you to have what you need to have, in order for you truly to create a joyful experience in your life and in your business. You must have alignment. If you don't have alignment, then again, systems are not going to work well, and it's going to be pretty clear, pretty evident real soon that things aren't working right. But alignment isn't just a miscellaneous words. There's rules involved with alignment, right? I just mentioned a few of them. One of the rules I mentioned earlier is that each of the systems must stand alone, right? Kaufman backed me up on that in her quote when she said that each of these individual pieces have to have real substance. They have to be real pure. They have to be non-negotiable. Means they stand alone, right? They might share their vulnerabilities and fears and compliments and blah, blah, blah. But, they stand alone. That's the first rule of alignment. Every part of the system must stand alone in its own integrity, in its own uniqueness, in its own special character, right? So super, super, super important. You must, if you're going to put the two things together, you must know what it is. You must have a clear understanding of what it is and how it functions, right? So that you don't make the mistake of trying to align things that don't work naturally together. Hamburgers and French fries work pretty good together, right? But I don't know, French fries and sauerkraut, some people make that work, but I don't see the natural alignment of that, But again, it's not something that's subject to interpretation. It's something that just is. It is. Oil and mortar don't mix. They just don't mix. You could swirl it around as much as you want, but eventually the oil will separate from the water, and this because they don't mix, right? You're not going to make that work unless you have some kind of emulsifier that changes the chemical makeup of both the oil and water to get them to mix. I didn't mean to give you a chemistry lesson, but I will tell you alignment is not easy, right? Because the things have to work separately and then also have to work when they're put together. And some things that work separately don't work well together. It's impossible to align them. And so you have to really, really have a good understanding of what those separate pieces are. That's rule number one. Rule number two in alignment is then they must come together. Those are the basic core rules, right? They must be separate and they must come together. So when you think about when I put together the VisionQuest 90 plan, I started thinking about all the things that mess people up. How do people in organizations, create dysfunction? What has to happen in order to make that happen? And I figured it all out. And I've been using this system now for more than 20 years. And I know it works. And it works for me. It works for every individual that I coach and work with. It works for everybody. And so it's super, super important. That's why we start with this. How do you put these pieces together? I have found that when you try to force people into ideas and molds that they're not ready to embrace yet, it doesn't work. It's very, very difficult. It creates more friction. But if you allow people to organically grow from where they are to where they need to be, and they understand all the systems and tools involved, then it's much better. And so I always have a key element, right? So no matter what I'm thinking about when it comes to working with other vendors, based on where their strengths are, and I find that people are obviously have more strength in one of the 5 key areas of the VisionQuest process than not. So some people are really, really good. They're visionary, right? They're like expansive in their thinking, and they have all these plans of where they want to go, and they have this vision of who they think they should be and what they think they should have and what they should be doing, and they see it all. And it's clear to them in their mind. They have vision. They're visionaries, even, right? But they may be horrible at execution, right? They may be horrible at actually setting goals, developing the habits they have to develop. But then there's some people who are habit-driven, right? So they just are machines. They do what they need to do. They're always doing what they need to do. And they have good, clean habits, right? But if they have to shift and create new habits, they have a hard time with that because they're so driven by their habits and they can't create a new habit. They can't break from where they are right now, and they need to have a lot of coaching in order to see the other parts and how to value the other parts of a system in order for them to express themselves and come forward and let people know this is what I'm up to. This is the reasons why I do the things I'm doing. This is my mission. This is my purpose. These are the values that I have. They have a hard time expressing those things because it's so driven by habit. It's just the thing I've always been good at. That's what I'm good at. That's what I do. That's what I do day, and that's what I depend on. And if they break from that, then you might call some kind of psychotic break, right? But so it's important that you figure out where a person's strong is before, and that's what a lot of what we do in the coaching program is all about. Understanding who the person is and where their gifts are and where we start them in the system is where they're going to be strongest, right? So it's super, super important. That's the rule. Never try to move people into alignment or force that alignment to happen, put it that way, because when it doesn't happen quite naturally, organically, then it's not going to work well. And it's going to cause a lot of problems because people are going to rebel. They're going to be stressed out. Systems are not going to work correctly. And, you just want to make sure you do that with a modicum of expertise and talent. When you start pulling these things together, you have to pull them together in a way that makes sense. Another rule that I want to mention, and there's several of them, is you have to, whatever systems that you create, whatever systems that you bring together, and whatever alignments that you try to bring together, you must continually examine and update them. Build that into the system. Make sure that every month or every quarter or every 2 weeks, or whatever it is that you want to do, that you have time built in to sit down, make sure you maintain all the systems properly and that they're still working together and that things are still going in the way they're supposed to happening in the way they're supposed to happen within the systems. Because if you don't have a system update, if you don't check the system, if you don't, realign places where there might be some changes, again, you can have problems that sneak up on you that you're not going to see them happening because you're not paying attention. And the beautiful thing about creating a system in the first place is it gives you always go back to revisit it. You want to make sure that you're always, checking to make sure it's still working at maximum efficiency. It's still, and if there's some updates that need to be done, some patches that need to be put together, you do that, right? You have to have ways to maintain the alignment in your system. And if you don't have that put together in your plan, you should put that together in your plan. You can't execute without having a strategy to go back and examine, right? Another rule of a good alignment and keeping things in alignment is, understanding what an alignment does, right? An alignment creates more. It creates more agency, creates more power, creates more capacity, creates more resiliency, creates more effectiveness and efficiency in everything that you do. If it's not doing that, then it's a bad system. Throw it out. Reevaluate it, fix it, do whatever you have to do, but don't continue limping along with a system that's broken, right? Or a system that's not obviously moving you in the right direction, right? Moving you and your team and your processes and your programs in the right direction. And the beautiful thing about having aligned systems that are working together, right, and keeping yourself focused on how do we make that system better and better and better and better all the time, is it frees you from the distractions that come along from just not paying attention to the things that you need to pay attention to, right? And that's why I love alignment. And back to what I wanted to tell you a little bit earlier about sacrifice, back to Memorial Day, when you think about that, right? Keeping a system in place and putting a system in place and keeping it in place and keeping it updated and keeping it patched up and keep working on it is a sacrifice, right? It's an investment that you're making into a system. And in this system, you are so focused and so tied into what it's doing, you are literally making a sacrifice to other things that you might want to engage in, or you might distract you, or might cause your attention to wander, or whatever that is. And that's the beauty of a system, right? It's making the willing sacrifice, because whatever this system is and whatever it's creating and generating for you and whatever it's doing for you and for other people is so powerful, it's so special, it's so meaningful, that demands that kind of attention. And that kind of attention is actually a freedom from distraction, right? There's a book called Driven Through Distraction, and I read it a while back ago, and it was about really ADD and what that does with that, how your executive function suffers when you are constantly distracted, right? And people without systems are constantly distracted. And that's why I love the VisionQuest90 system, because it's a system that I use to help people stay focused on their professional development. It helps people stay focused on growth, and helps them stay focused on moving themselves forward in their education, in their practice, or whatever it is that you're doing. That's all. Everything is all about, we talked about. Now, if you learned everything over the last few weeks we've talked about in terms of, how to create your mission, how to use it effectively, how to look at your vision, how to really think through, where you're going, where destiny might be calling you, where your skills and your talents might be coming together and moving you in a certain direction. And either you're ignoring those talents, or you're dialed in and focused on those talents and those gifts, so that you can maximize, what you're here to do, which leads you to your purpose. And if your purpose is clear and you're able to articulate what that is, especially for your partners and people around you, then you're able to identify resources that you're going to need to have. You're able to put those resources back together and collectively work on that mission, and make sure that you're engaging in the right habits. They're going to create everything you need to create. All of this is a beautiful, wonderful alignment, and when it works well, it always works well, as a matter of fact. But when it's really cooking, it's a thing of beauty. It's a thing to behold. It's a thing to wonder at, and it's magical. And I can't wait for the opportunity to share more of it with anybody who's interested about that. On the next series, we're going to talk about execution and all of the things that it requires you once you've got a good plan together. So you can go ahead and watch this last series. You're going to go back to series, exercise number 1, right? And watch this 25 episodes, all to get you through the planning process, right? But in the next series, we're going to talk about execution. And a part of what got you through the planning process, we're going to share and open back up again in execution. We're going to think about it in a different way, because it's different when you're planning and you're writing down what your plans are, and then when you have to execute it. I have seen over and over and over and over again entrepreneurs, business leaders who have a business plan. The purpose of their business plan was for them to get some money, right? For them to get the support they needed to get. And then once they got that support, they abandoned the plan and start doing some other things. They got distracted, right? The thing about a good plan is it's something that you never want to abandon. In fact, it's something that you want to lean on. You want to lean in and you want to get back to as much as possible. But execution is its own beast in terms of how all things come together and getting ready to be expansive and getting ready to move forward. And so I'm looking forward to that next series. Any questions that you may have ahead of that time about execution that you want to share with the listening audience, or you want to, get answers to, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm available. I'm open. I see that some of you are engaging already. I've seen some pop-ups come through. I'm glad to see you're out there. Thank you very much for sharing the program. Thank you very much for engaging. I look forward to seeing you again next week. If there's no questions in the chat for me to answer, I'm going to sign off. We've been at this for about 40 minutes now, so I'm going to sign off and come back and see you guys again next week. And we'll start our series on execution. All right. Look forward to seeing you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.